welcome to another episode of Billy Watson TV. Today I have the pleasure to talk to Leviticus, who uses the name Modern Day Prophet on his social media channels. We are going to get into lots of interesting topics like resets, orphanages, giants, flat earth, and much more. I hope you enjoy the show.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Billy Watson TV. It gives me great pleasure to have a first-time guest on. I've seen him being interviewed by another recent first-time guest, Guy Anderson, and I really enjoyed that interview, so I've checked out his TikTok stuff and his Facebook group, so he's quite an interesting dude. His name is Leviticus, and he goes by the name of Modern Day Prophet. So welcome to the show, Leviticus. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much, brother. I'm doing well, man. I feel blessed. I feel beautiful. The sun is shining, and I'm thankful to be on your TV show, brother. So on your website, man. I'm very thankful. So yeah,
that's cool. You're very welcome. It's not often the sun comes out these days for various reasons, but when it does come out, we might as well enjoy it.
The central sun, yeah.
Yeah. Where are you living? Where are you based?
Wales.
I'm on Wales, right?
Yeah.
I've never been to Wales out of the four countries. It's one place I've never been, but I believe it's like Scotland without the locks.
It is, like I would say, like Irish, Scotland, and Wales, very similar people, very lovely, down to earth, beautiful people. Like,
there's quite a big difference between people in North Wales and South Wales. There's a bit of a rivalry going on there, is there?
Yeah, to be fair, like I think they speak like fluent Welsh in North Wales, and they do sound very different down here. We got sort of like a neutral accent, and I don't think many people down here don't really speak Welsh. Obviously from things what have happened in the past, but yeah, very different.
I've heard that like when you go into a bar or a restaurant in Wales, North Wales, they're all talking English, and then when you go in and start talking Welsh, is it a bit like that, or?
Yeah, well, most of the North Wales, they sound quite like from Liverpool, like, because it's quite on the border as well. But yeah, I think like they don't really like South Wales and stuff. But I think we separate it from North Wales and down to the south. It's very different, but it's beautiful in North Wales though. A few times it's lovely.
Mm-hmm. So you've actually got mixed parentage. I believe your dad's a Rastafarian.
Yeah, right, yeah. So my father was obviously born over here, but his dad, so my grandfather was from Barbados. So we came over on the Windrush on the boat stock, and that's my heritage from my father.
What's that called? The Rushmore thing. What's it called exactly?
The Windrush. Come over it.
Windrush.
Yeah. So when they colonized Barbados, Jamaica, Caribbean sort of place, where when they brought them over on the boats, I guess, as slaves, if you want to say, and but
they were coming for a great life in the UK, and
they had a chance of life. But do you know what though? How sad it is, most of them didn't make it, and most of them got thrown over the ship and stuff, and but my grandfather made it, and God bless his soul, Leonard, his name is, and I'll give thanks to my dad and for them roots because that's what made me today.
Yeah. What about your mother's side?
So basically, she's English. Basically, she comes from Bristol or like Somerset, them ways. And I think there's sort of Romanian, a little bit like Romany Gypsy as well. But I'm gone back that far. But yeah, English basically. But my dad's side as well. It's not just Barbados. It's like Cherokee Indian. We got like a lot of like sort of different like mixed genes in there. So I've got quite a few things in me. It makes my culture, it makes me who I am, and yeah, man, I'm blessed.
Yes, you mentioned in the interview with Guy that I've seen, your grandma, was that on your mother's side, was quite an influence as well.
Yeah, so yeah, Sherry, my nan, she passed away about 6 years ago now, cancer, and but she was a very, very powerful woman. And someone that you wouldn't meet normally in life, someone that really opened up people's minds, and you could say a modern day spiritual witch in her own sense, a white witch, a good one that knew things that people didn't know.
Yeah, so you were quite close to her when you were growing up.
Yeah, like you could say that, my upbringing was mixed. It was different, just like any other life, I guess. It was a struggle growing up. I was born in 1994, and my mum did what she could, and so did my dad. And come from a family of quite a lot of brothers and sisters, and a lot of them are older than me too. And I'm in my 30s now. But when I was born, they were already quite older, and my nan and my bam, yeah, they were always there for me, and they did a lot for me, and they showed me, what the world is to be. They showed me like beautiful culture, beautiful food, things that I never really seen growing up through things. So my nan, yeah, she did everything she ever could, and I respect her on every level, and I give praise.
So yeah, you seem. I think Guy was mentioning like you're quite an old soul, and then you're quite young. So obviously, I think you mentioned your dad had a lot of influence in kind of conspiracies or whatnot, alternative thinking. So from a young age, you've kind of were you that way inclined naturally, just as an open mind as people like us tend to be, or did the door open from watching some stuff and then you went down rabbit holes? And
I think like it was always meant to be for me, but also I manipulated who I was and who I've become. I've always been a part of a spiritual family, and like my dad, not just him being a Rastafarian. My dad is a very powerful man. He's studied scriptures, and he's watching now. You know what I mean? And he was someone that I always looked at and thought like, why do you do what you do, Dad? He was very different. He wasn't like other dads, being mechanics or working in certain ways. My dad was studying things like very deep knowledge, and I was always intrigued by it. And I wanted to understand what my name was. I wanted to understand who I was, and so I asked questions, from very young. And I also, I dived into it and I studied things, and what I could, and that's it. And from a very young age, I wanted to know the truth. I wanted to know the answers, and I wanted to find out, what we are, what this is. And I never really looked back. So it was a bit of both, really. Like it was meant to be, but I put the time in, I put the effort in. I did, and I went out of my way to find the answers. And it's been a hard journey, but I'm still here, and I'm just trying to teach other people now because it has to be done.
You were quite, I wouldn't say maybe fortunate, but obviously the internet was around when you were growing up, so it wasn't like going to libraries in days of old. But you still have to get through. To me, it's like layers of the onion. You get the surface level, Alex Jones or whatever, then you've got to go down, and then I think that's true, and then all of a sudden, another one. So it's a never-ending quest, I think, to get to the bottom of what's going on here. Yeah,
it is, brother. And like I don't really like Alex Jones and things. I feel like that's another puppet in the game. Anybody could go out there and be famous on this truth thing, or put things out there just to correct other people's minds for what they know. I feel like everybody in the scene, like Alex Jones, like you say, or like Billy Castle, for instance, I feel like if you're that level and you're that high and you're doing things like that, then you're an infiltrator of the truth, like, because it's quite scary and it's quite deep, really. And I never really wanted to expose myself up until the past few years, because it has to be done now. I got given the opportunity to do it, and I know it's the time now, because there's not many time left, I guess. But like I don't think people really believe in it as much as certain people like us, and it's something that needs to be done. Like I don't really respect like them on YouTube and things that have millions of views and all these followers. Not like that. If you do it in the right way, of course I do, but it has to be done in the right way. It does, and if you're not doing it in the right way, then you're not going to show respect from me. You're not going to respect from the light, and that's what it is, brother.
We're talking a little bit before going live there about how difficult it is. I think if you are doing it in the true way, the system goes against you. So then you wonder how these other people, Joe Rogan, and could have a huge list of them, that obviously pretend it's like Elon Musk or these fake truthers or Russell Brand, and they pretend they're working for the light, but it's almost like the mainstream media, everyone can see through that almost these days. Not everyone, but a lot of people are seeing through it. So they had to set up a whole alternative media to get people to believe in that. But that's just one step down from the mainstream media, and they're subverting people and gatekeeping, So it's really difficult especially you go on YouTube, because nobody wants to leave YouTube. So, but they're banning the truth. So where do you get your truth these days? And they've Rumble, BitChute, and they made it difficult to find it. You've got a good TikTok channel though. That seems to be working for some people.
It is like it's doing okay. It's, you know, just like you know, when you said, you know, being restricted on certain things. I've posted things, and when I posted certain things, you know, a while ago, ever since then, it's sort of, they shut me down. And, you know, when they sort of realized that I was pushing things that they didn't really, you know, they didn't like, because, you know, TikTok, Facebook, you know, X, if you want to say, whatever, you know, all these social media accounts, YouTube, they're all part of the same company. They're all part of the same branch, and they're all part of the same order. And they're not stupid, and they know exactly what's going on, and they will just shut you down like this. And especially now, because there's so many people are coming out doing it, you know, and yeah, you are right, like you said, about Russell Brand and things. And I feel like, really though, it's not really their fault. It's not, because, you know, I feel like they come out because they had to at a certain point, because they found out things, and they were like, yo, I gotta tell these people, I gotta tell them that, because, you know, because they are still, you know, before they put their soul over, they were a human, you know, in a sense, if you want to say, before they put their soul out there. And they were gutted when they found out certain things. And a lot of people have done it, just like Jim Carrey, Russell Brand, you know what I mean? There's been a few of them that have done it, and they all silenced now, you know what I mean? Because you can't do that. And, you know, I don't blame them for stopping it and not doing it, because, you know, they're conformed, they're trapped, and it's a scary thing when someone taps you on the shoulder and says, yo, you know what I mean, you can't do that. I mean, you've got to stop that, and you've got to join this, you've got to join that, you know what I mean? And that's what happens. And you will be silenced, you know what I mean? Because, you know, they threaten you with things that is crazy, and it's been going on for a long time now. And, you know, I really respect, like, Russell Brand and things, even though he's changed now, conformed again, I know, but I respect what he tried to do. You know what I mean? I really do. Like, you know, a famous man, with all that, you know, with all that knowledge, and, you know, with people really looking at him with his fame, and doing something like that is very, 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 you know, very deep, and I respect it. And, you know, I don't blame all of them for conforming after it, because they haven't got a choice, really. You know, they did what they could, and yeah, and they went back.
Do you think it's almost, if you take the shilling, you know, because he got wealth or famous through the Big Brother thing, and obviously they're signing contracts, and they're giving him a certain level of, you know, profile. So do you think that these people that have been given that have almost like, they're in the gang, and therefore they can be tapped on the shoulder, whereas other people, well, it's just every man for, they've got more free reign, although they can be shut down, you know. And again, it's hard to imagine anyone getting a certain level of influence these days, because they do get shut down. I mean, I've been shut down tremendously, and other people as well, and it's very disheartening. So therefore, it's almost like this reality is impossible to really influence. So you have to kind of work on those closest to you and yourself.
And you just hit the nail on the head. Like, you know, we have to get through the people that really believe in ourselves, because, you know, the only way they're going to wake up anybody is if they believe in us and believe in our own, you know, personal soul, and that's how we wake people up. And yeah, like, some people are chosen through it 100%, you know, through bloodlines, through families, through certain things, but the ones that, you know, and some people make it in their lives anyway, and but you know, like, if you make £1 million, like, you can't be free. Like, they're definitely going to come to you and ask you, you know, what are you part of all this? Do you want to be protected? You know what I mean? You can't be walking around with all that flashy stuff unless you join a certain thing, and it's the truth, and no one will say no, because, you know, when in the face of the controller, I guess, on this realm, you know, it's scary. And, you know, so yeah, like, and I don't know, I feel like he got up his water, Russell Brand. I feel like he was just, you know, on Big Brother and everything, whatever. And then, like I said, it broke his heart. He found out some things that broke his heart, and he tried, because he was always eccentric anyway, and it didn't work out. And like I said, a lot of people have tried. Like, you know, Jim Carrey was on some mad, like, you know, wave of frequencies at one point, like, doing so many things, and like, it was like, yo, you know what I mean? And it's just nothing now, and he looks different now as well. You know what I mean? Like, he looks, like, he's really changed, and he's silent now, and, you know, that's obvious in itself what happened there, and it is very sad. But, you know, you can't be doing stuff like that if you're in the limelight. You can't be. I mean, they will shut you down. They will shut you down straight away, you know, and silence you, especially now in this day and age when everybody's waking up. Do you know what I mean? You know, more than ever now. they will shut you down and silence you. And you know, we got to do it, I guess. You know what I mean? We got to do it. We got to inspire people in a different way, not being famous, not being like that. We got to make them, you know, believe in us, because we're just normal people. We're normal. We're here. We're like them. We're like you. And but we're frustrated. We're gutted, and can you all see it? Like, it's obvious now, and it's gone too far. It's gone too far. And even the ones that, you know, that live in their houses and they're rich and they're rich, I mean, they can't be asked either. I mean, they're thinking, what I mean, because cars and mansions and Ferraris on this, it doesn't matter, does it really? In the face of the light, in the face of the frequencies, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It really doesn't. And that's what they all got to believe in. They got to realize that. They got to realize that it doesn't matter anymore. I mean, because look what's happening around us.
So let's go a bit deeper then. What do you? I mean, obviously you're quite far down rabbit holes or whatever, and you've done a bit of research. What's your kind of conclusion or idea of what is actually going on just now? What is this place? People call it a simulation, a virtual reality. Do you think nature is natural? Do you think we're almost like the movie Inception? We're a few layers down in the dream and there's more layers to go, and we have to kind of work our way back up to become our true souls? Because it certainly seems like reality is unreal, if you know what I mean. It's just like, this is too crazy shit that is going on right now.
Yeah.
It's just, there's a script to this almost.
I think it's been happening for a long time. I think, you know, it's not just about the reset Tartaria. We've been reset many times, and they've took away the books and the scriptures. They burnt down the Library of Alexandria. You know, you could find magic scrolls in there, things that would have told us everything you ever wanted to know. You know, there's only the time frame of probably about 1,000 years that you know, our civilization, if you want to say, has been here. You know, and that's the truth. And before that, it was totally different. I think we are, you know, we're atoms. We're an energy source. We're negative and positive. We're disagreeables and agreeables. We're a source of energy, you know, and that got created through the womb, I'd say, you know, and give life, you know, give birth to the seed of life. And, you know, that's not the Big Bang. You know, it's nothing to do with that. It comes from a very powerful source. And what I believe in, brother, we're on a massive long plane that don't stop forever, and it goes down and it goes up, and there's different levels of the firmament of water everywhere, because obviously it's blue down here, and they've just done well to teach us in schools about we're on a spinning globe and we can't go anywhere. You know what I mean? You don't go anywhere. I mean, we can't, do we? So we stay here, we stay trapped, and we can't move and we can't go anywhere. But it's already been documented about the ice wall and certain things. It's obvious, but you know. But we would never get there. We'd never go through there because they've run away. They won't let us in the entities anymore because they're sick of us themselves. You know, they're sick of us. And what makes me laugh? You know what I mean? We read stories to our kids about dragons and mermaids and, you know, fairies and stuff, and we literally question, like, it's a myth, and it's like, where did that come from? You literally can't make something up for no reason, and it's quite crazy and it's obvious. And they won't come up from underground anyway. They're not going to come up. You know what I mean? There's wars going on in the ground. You know what I mean? Different tribes and things. You know what I mean? And it's been happening for a long time, and they're not really nice. You know what I mean? These entities, they're not nice entities. You know what I mean? They you know what I mean? They're you know, proper goblins, proper, you know, things, because they don't. You know what I mean? And they also you know, they take human form babies all the time down there because they know they'll have a better life down there than up here. And they do that a lot. You know, and I'm not going to go on a certain thing more than that, but I took my time out to find things out and study things deeper and do certain things, and it's obvious to me now, and I don't know if it's too late anymore, but like you said, if we can wake up a few souls, you know, if we can wake up a few souls here, then we've done our journey. We've done our purpose.
So, like, one of your TikTok videos I seen was talking about Agartha and kind of Hollow Earth. Some people might think that would make you think it was a globe, but it's a flat plane and there's underground.
Deep.
Yeah, there's many tunnels, and, you know, and we hear of children going missing and stuff. And I interviewed a guy back in the day, Stephen D. Kelly, who is big on the Getty Museum. He believes that that's a centre
Yeah.
Many levels to that, and the further down you go, you talk about entities, and how would you differentiate like archons, entities, and then you're saying goblins, and these are physical entities? Is there spiritual ones? Are they physical in a different realm? Is there physical ones in this realm? That because we've got all the genochrome and blood sacrificing and eating babies and stuff like that. And yeah, what was your thoughts on that kind of topic?
Like, you know, they are physical if they want to be. They can also transform into being non-physical. We live on the third plane, on the third dimension, and they live in the fifth. Like, in, you know, and that means that, like, you know, all of our frequencies, all of our spirit that we feel, this thing that we don't even know what we are, that there lives on that plane. You know, they cut the trees down. They got rid of our frequencies. You know, they just like advertising. I mean, they did very well in the past research. I mean, just to make us like this. You know,
just to say, when you say cut the trees down, in case people are quite new to this, some of your TikTok, you've got quite a few videos of this looks like a mountain base is kind of flat, and you're saying these are big, huge trees, like with an Avatar in the movie Avatar. You know, people had a physical, spiritual connection with the trees.
They were physical beings. They were you know, they were the matriarchs. They were the mother. They were the mother of the life. They were, you know, they were Tiamat. They were the vibrations of frequencies, and yeah, the demonic forces, you know, they had a chance to take over this realm because entities do have a chance if they want to. They cut all the trees down to make us not realize that we're on the galactic order of the fifth dimension, and that's why they cut them all down. But then the beings of the trees, they went and they become different forms anyway, you know, of carriers. But yeah, and guys, obviously you're right, Billy. I mean, if you want to look at the ancient giant trees, you can go into my TikTok Monday Prophet, or you can just type in on YouTube, type in ancient giant trees, and you'll see, you know, and if it's something that really, you know, I believe in on crazy levels. Because I'll tell you this, you know, going back a few years ago, no one knew about them trees, no one did, and you know, I'll say something now. You know, I suffer with Tourette's, and I've done good to keep it in my life and keep it in. But when I was younger, I used to like talk to trees, and I used to like tip the trees. You know what I mean? When I was younger, all the time, and I'm saying something now. You know what I mean? On a deep level, but it's the truth. And I brought the trees out the past few years. I've been the biggest advocate for them ancient giant trees because they you know, they send me messages, you know, and like it's the truth. And they are trees. They are tree stems. They are gigantic tree stems that stretch into the skies, and it's obvious to see. They are literally the same as tree stems. They're just massive, and you know, and that in itself is so heartbreaking. How people don't realize that they were, because if they were still into the skies, then we would have no place for money. We'd have no place for clothes and cars. It wouldn't matter because we would all be drawn to the trees. We would all be living around them trees. You know what I mean? You know, that thing there, like we're drawn to the water. We'd be drawn to them trees. That's why they cut them down. They cut them down. Antennae. Nah, get rid of them. You know what I mean? So now we live on the third and
so that was almost like providing a bridge between this and the spiritual, almost, to make this place more spiritual and people be more attuned. They were like the bridge.
And all the ancients, you know, you could say pre-flood or whatever, but even after the Egyptians, but you know, the Aztecs, the Mayans, you know, whatever you want to say, you know, they all knew it. They all knew. It was only up until like, you know, not even like 100 years ago, whatever. I mean, where we all thought we was on a flat, you know, plane anyway. All the maps were flat, like everything was flat. I mean, if you look at like, you know, all the biggest logos in America, things. I mean, they've all got this flat plane, and they show it all the time. I mean, they just laugh at us, like, you know, I mean, even Admiral Burge. I mean, he went over there, he's seen little things, and what you said earlier, you're right. Like when you got a guy from Hollow Earth in that sense, it is like that, but it goes deeper than you could ever imagine, and there's levels to it. There's levels, and it goes deeper, and you could never get down there. Do you know what I mean? And to walk from here, if you found the entrances, and there's loads of them on this earth, if you found the entrance and you actually got in it to walk down there, it would take you hundreds of days. You wouldn't make it. You know what I mean? You wouldn't make it down into that place, and you wouldn't want to, because you wouldn't want to know what entrance to go to, because you could end up in an entrance where you wouldn't, because you couldn't meet the graves.
There's lots of stories from kind of native people in various parts of the world saying about giants and stuff, or kind of demonic beings or crazy creatures when they go to the entrances of these caves or down them a wee bit. So a lot of them are kind of barriered off somehow but there is a few that people have. It's kind of locals like don't go near there. Shit can happen. So
Iraq, like ancient Mesopotamia, like if you look at like modern day Iraq now, that's like well, the reason why the war happened, to be honest, it wasn't nothing to do with oil, nothing to do with that. They wanted to get rid of some stuff over there, and I don't know if you know about the Ginger Giant. It's quite a famous story. When they found the Ginger Giant in the cave and things, and that's real. That is, and obviously, and that's what they were doing. They were finding certain things, killing them off, just like the British ships did a long time ago. Back in like 1700s and stuff. Or J655 or whatever. They went around, sailed the lands, and they was finding these mermaids, these giants, these things, and they were killing them off. Because it didn't fit the order, it didn't fit the systematic way, it didn't fit the New World Order, it didn't fit their agenda of what they wanted. So they went around and they killed them off, like the Bellinis. The faces in their bellies and stuff. It's truth. It is, and you know what? You can go online and you can find English documents, English paintings of things documented, all these creatures, all these beings, and they're not stories. That is the stories. No, they literally documented in books, like what they've done, what they've traveled, what they've seen, and it still gets played off the stories, and it's crazy, to be honest.
Yeah, there's actually a couple of books that I've seen. I think I might have downloaded them to my Kindle, well, not read them yet. Like people going to Antarctica and beyond the ice wall and coming back for stories what's happened there. What do you think about history, though? It's hard these days, I think, to actually know what the hell happened beyond, say, 1900, because prior to that, we talk about these like big, huge cathedrals built in 1860 or whatever, and it's like, oh, come on, that can't be realistic given our normal, traditional, historic timeline, horse and carts and stuff. Yeah. So you mentioned there J566. Obviously, the one has been replaced in a lot of things.
Yeah, sorry, brother. I'm not being disrespectful, brother. I just got a bad thought I have, so just to let you know, man.
No worries. I mean, the number one has been added. Some people think because it was like J566. And
it is, and like what they did was, only literally 1700s. If you want to say in that sense, I mean, they skipped 1,000 years. Before that, 1,000 years, it is the Dark Ages and stuff. I mean, there was no documents or everything, so just scripted. No, they wanted to skip the future, so we think that we've done so many things to get to our point. To find this technology, to do all these things. You know what I mean? But you haven't gone that far though. You haven't really imagined me. When really, like we're driving around in petrol cars, when we should be on, on free electric hovercrafts and certain things, whatever, And we've been in the future, in the past. The future is the past is the future, and we've already done it. And it's obvious, like these beautiful buildings, if you want to say Tartarian things, look how beautiful and detailed the energy source of the buildings are. And then if you look at what we're in now, it's they want to be so out there that we forget all of this, and they rushed the job anyway. They didn't really do it properly because where I live now in my town, there's buildings in the town centre. Like our Tartarian buildings, and there's a few on Instagram. And I look at it now, when now I know it more in this sense, and I think, oh my God, like look at that, and then look around you, and I think it was a totally different civilization. I think people got silenced. I think there's people out there that know exactly what happened. Families, bloodline family and stuff. I'm going to do a post soon, and I'm going to say it now. I'm going to do a post next week because I've been planning this post. But basically, I found out that the Rothschild, their timeline from 1767, when they all split their families and then they went to control the banking around things around the world.
5 sons.
Happened the same time as the reset, right? And when they took over the Bank of England, it happened the same time as the timeline is uncanny. It's crazy, right? And look how powerful they are. So they had a massive part to play in it, and this is my project. The Rothschilds destroyed Tartaria. No one's really looked at that. No one's really looked at that, and they did. They were the ones, like the biggest ones. They killed it off. They literally come into power exactly the same time as the reset.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's something just for people new. You're just wondering about resets, but again, it's like what's happened every so often. There seems to be. I mean, people say we're obviously Klaus Schwab is saying there's a great reset 2030, and it seems to be like this has got to come to. There's too many people seem to be waking it up, and there's just too much insanity going on. Does it get to like a peak or some kind of bit where I think Westworld was quite an interesting series as well, where every so often they totally change the backdrop, whatever, because the current narrative isn't holding up. So we're just kind of kept in this realm, almost like to be fed off as an energy source and give our power away to these entities. Or previously it wasn't like that, because all these cathedrals were like healing centres. That's where the organ was playing, there's sound healing going on, and it's almost like utopian. And I think Guy, he talks about it, and there's like no children in a lot of these pictures of the world fairs and stuff like that. So you kind of wonder if sex is almost a modern thing for us to kind of clone naturally, in commas. And previously that wasn't a thing. So people were more spiritual and in tune, you know, and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, you're right, brother. And like, you know, it creates emotional trauma, you know, sectors. And that's what they want to do. They don't want us to know our true purpose. You know, they would never want us to know our true purpose, because if we did, we'd be able to fly and telepathically speak. Like, I mean, that's why a strand of our DNA got taken away, and that's why we can't use anything that we want to use, and that's why we're so frustrated here. I mean, so they create emotional trauma. They create football stadiums and things to make us distracted, and they've been doing it for a long, long time. And they understand exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. When you said about Tartaria and stuff, and you know who were they? And you said, you know, and it didn't happen then. You know what I mean? I think it did. I think this realm has always been demonic. You know, you know, like they were living side by side with them anyway, and all of it. Tartaria, it was a paradise. It must have been beautiful, but don't be fooled by thinking that there wasn't, you know, entities involved in that were waiting for their time to take over. And that's what happened, and it happened so fast. How they just did it like that. And reset happened. It wasn't just from 1700s to the thing. The reset that's happened. It went over like a 100-year period. They did little things. I mean, constantly. Do you know what I mean? We're getting reset right now. We're always in reset. Do you know what I mean? Like, through phones. You know what I mean? How we're so interactive with, you know, AI. You know, all our kids playing on our PlayStation, Xboxes, and the game. We're living in a game, playing our own human forms. It's weird, isn't it? And we're constantly getting reset, and you know, it's the great reset, big resets, yeah, kind of, you know, things, but constantly they're resetting in little ways. And the next one for us is digitalized life. We're going to be in a digitalized life, and we're not going to be able to look at what's real and what's fake on photos, anything, nothing at all. You know what I mean? Like, I seen a guy, he went to court the other day because someone did like an AI video of him like kissing some guy, and his missus thought it was actually him, and it wasn't. You know, it was not him. And I imagine that he took someone to court for it. That's scary.
Yeah, it's crazy. AI is insane these days. I mean, I've got a couple of poetry books, and my girlfriend showed me this site. I could just get the lyrics, pop them in, and a song pops out, and it's pretty catchy. And it's like, you know, it's just wild. I mean, you can't really tell. I mean, if you've got a fine ear, you could maybe say, oh, that's maybe AI, but I mean, just type soul, blues, whatever, this amazing song pops out, and you can do that with visuals. So lots of people, like photographers and filmmakers and all these people, are becoming almost obsolete. There's a guy who I used to follow, his name was Martin Kenny, and he had this model of flat earth and stuff with Santos Bonacci. It's quite interesting. And then he went away to Portugal to form something he calls a Pineal Foundation. And he's done a few videos recently where he's talking about an ancient AI god, like back in the days of almost Atlantis. He says that technology was that advanced, and the AI that they created took over.
The Pioneer Organization.
Yeah.
Cool, man. I'll have to look him up, brother.
Yeah, we should look at his latest. He done a video. He got pulled from YouTube, as it always does, but it's on BitChute still. It's fairly recent. And he talks about this ancient AI god, and basically it's revealing itself right now. And it's like the demiurge, you know, because you can have these conversations on your phone with this thing, and, you know, you might think it's giving you the truth, but it's probably giving you the truth. It's like Satan comes as a man of peace or whatever. You know, it pretends to be your friend and giving you disclosure, but ultimately, what is that thing? You know? And so anyway, he's talking about, obviously, people talk about microchipped or whatever, and our minds getting taken over by the Satan or Lucifer, the demiurge, the AI, and maybe there's going to be a transition. There's like a little gap appearing where I think we can maybe some people can escape at that point, the Matrix, but it's going to be so hard to see that opportunity. And it seems to be like we're just getting taken into the metaverse, and that's deeper, another level down the rabbit hole kind of thing.
They've done really well to plan this to get to this point, you know, like it's AI in itself. If you look at iRobot, you know, the Will Smith, that film, you know, they've given us clues then it's coming that sense. And when you said about the AI God, you know, I haven't seen that sort of thing. I don't know, but to think of that now and to look at, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if there was entities that were, you know, real beings through AI in that sense. And that's so crazy to say in that sense, but how is it crazy when you know, we got like beautiful elephants walking in Africa and we got all those things? Well, because we're on this realm here, you know, how is it crazy when we can go on and turn our TV on and watch these things? How is it crazy when iPhones know exactly what we do? How is it crazy when we know all of it? Ain't we already connected into these iPhones? Why are we? Are we us or are we iPhone now? Do you know what I mean? Are we us or are we phones now? Are we us or are we, you know? And that's what it is. So definitely, and I think it's the time of digitalized things now, and no one can stop it. No one can stop it now. No one can stop it because, you know, I only go by pictures and knowledge and certain things that I've seen over the years. I've got things on my phone that I've kept and things that if there's a picture of Italian buildings, in the pictures of certain things, then mostly people who are, you know, part of the scene would have seen it, and we know certain things because there's not many images that I haven't seen in that sense. You know, I've seen most of them, and I know AI. It's obvious, but the problem is now is there's people on Facebook and places that have a massive following that are speaking about Tanzania, that are posting pictures, right? You know, putting dates on there, you know, 17th, whatever, in Rome, whatever, you know what I mean? And it's so fake. It's totally fake, and these IA buildings. And, do you know what? Like, I mean, they're sick. Like, they're cool, man. Like, you look and you think, yo, go on, like that's cool, but they're not real. They're not real. Maybe they could have been real, maybe it is, but it's not real. It's AI, and they have, you know, they got like 10,000. I was speaking to Guy about it. It's what's the name? You know, it's just frustrating, and you know, they having like 30,000 likes, man, and they got millions of followers, and everybody really believes that that's real, and like, so yeah, it's a time of AI, and it's going to be hard soon to distinguish what's real and what's fake, and we only the real ones will know soon, and we got to teach the youth, you know, how to distinguish that, because it's going to really affect them, you know, through things. You know, you can really make a person's face change and do anything if it wants to for a picture, and that's scary, that is.
Yeah, you can take a picture and make somebody sing a song and, you know, do anything. It is pretty scary. I mean, even with technology, we carry around these phones that are radiating EMF and, you know, Bluetooth, and, you know, even on that level, it's affecting our circadian rhythms, or whatever you want to call them, you know, and interrupting our natural state. So every computer to me should be hardwired, but obviously the cat's out the bag, and it's getting to a point with the iPhone and next generations and stuff. And even the HD TVs are kind of more real than reality. Again, they've got more pixels or whatever, so people can't. Reality is too boring for them, normal children these days, because they need the fix of the quick editing or the special images, and children are getting raised on this stuff. So parents aren't having the same control over what their child sees, and then they send them to school and they're getting brainwashed and indoctrinated. It seems like, you know, talking about, like, say, Keir Starmer, is he an actual human soul behind that, or is he just a program in the system just rolling out the system's narrative? I kind of wonder about that, because can somebody be that fucking evil, you know? Yes, we're going to Ukraine. Yes, it's, you know, to protect it. Bullshit, you know, nobody believes your shit. But you're, even just the fear level of we might be getting our children conscripted, or, you know, it's just insanity that's going on in this realm. And every day you have to kind of breathe, because, you know, if you go on Twitter, within 20 minutes, your stress levels can be going through the roof.
Oh, no.
The shit that you don't want to see, you've never asked to see, but there it is all in front of you, you know. We're getting fed the zeitgeist, you know.
Yeah. That's a good documentary. You know, like, I don't really believe anything that I see unless I'm there these days, in that sense. And I believe certain things that I see, that I've manipulated my mind to do certain things, to see the spiritual world in that sense. Been doing that for a long time to get answers and questions. But, you know, you'd be very surprised, which I think you know, I mean, what they can do to mimic TV, to mimic situations, to do it. You know, I mean, and it's obvious. I mean, you know, when these things happen in America, there's crisis actors. You know, you can sign up to be a crisis actor. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, you turn up to a place, and I mean, you're just screaming on the floor, eh! You know, and just actors. And that's true. People have come out and said, yeah, I'm a crisis actor. I mean, you know, and there's a, you know, there's a woman, she came out, she did a few years ago, and she was like, I've been a crisis actor for all of these major events, and all that, you know what I mean? And she was like, I want to say all this. And so, like, but they're very very clever, and they plan it very well, you know. All of the, you know, the presidents, all the governments, I mean, they're all puppets. They're all, you know, from the frat schools, you know what I mean, from eating things, and all, and they are born and bred to be devilish. They're born and bred to be in the skull and bones. They're born and bred to be dark. They're born and bred to eat children. Yeah, they're born and bred to not care about what we care about. They don't care about it. They don't care because they live on a different level than we do. You know, and that's not saying, look at what I'm saying is they haven't got time for that. I mean, they've got an order and a plan to get onto. They've been doing it for such a long time. You know,
like parasites, and they need us here. And if we exited the matrix, they would cease to exist, basically. So they have to keep on with the plan, and that's almost their trap, almost. But that's what they need to do.
They haven't got a soul, brother. They don't have a soul. That's what they lost their soul a long time ago. So what they try to do is they try to become immortal. They try to live for as long as they can to be like us. That's why they try to sacrifice us. That's why they make music industries to try and, oh, do you want to sign your soul over? You know what I mean? So they can take your soul. You know, because they want to be like us. They want to be free, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the sad thing with it as well. You know, is even though you could say that they're the bad ones, all this, but in movies, who's the bad one? You know, in like a Disney movie, is it the one that is going against the one that haven't got anything? You know, and they're sick of like looking at, you know, someone who's rich, whatever. All the rich ones, are they the ones that are good or bad? You can't really like look at it in a way, because to see light, yeah, to see the good, is you have to be dark in this life. And then when I say that, it's not like that. You have to feel energy. You have to feel every side of it. It's like, in order to get there. So, you know, I don't. Yeah, they are parasites and deep demonic entities that have been sucking the blood from many realms. You know what I mean, for thousands of years, and they've done it so much. I mean, they've come. I mean, but we're a central vortex here. You know what I mean, on this realm here, we're central. We are the middle of everything. You know, here we're the middle of everything. We are, and this realm is so, you know, it's so precious that everybody wants this place. Everyone wants this Tiamat. Everyone wants this realm because it's beautiful. It's still got lush greenery. All this. I mean, most of these realms don't have anything left anymore. No greenery. Nothing. There's nothing nowhere. I mean, they've smashed it up. They've killed each other off hard. Like, you know what I mean? And that's why most of them have retreated here underground in the water and in the things. You know what I mean? There's a bigger civilization of entities living all around us, yeah, than ourselves as humans here. You know what I mean? Like literally, you know what I mean? In Grand Canyon, you know what I'm saying? Bermuda Triangle, you know what I mean? Antarctica, I mean, animal, Brazil, all of them. Do you know what I mean? All these massive mountains, all this. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Mount Shasta. Do you know what I mean? That is a place of entities, you know, that have retreated to be safe because from their own thing. And people listening to me will think I'm crazy, but I don't really care what people think. You know what I mean? I believe in that more than I believe in any of them, because to me it's obvious to me, and I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that knows this. You know, and it's something that they all need to know. They need to realize it, because, you know, like when everyone does, a few million on this realm, when a few million realize it, that's all we need. They will all come up, they will, and they will be like, thank God. You know,
Just why do you think? Obviously, COVID came out, and before then, well, in the early days, certainly YouTube seemed to be a lot freer expression because it was YouTube, say what you want. But they used COVID as an excuse to bring in censorship And, you know, people talk about, this isn't Nazi Germany, there's no censorship here, but all of a sudden people are talking in code on the internet just so they can keep their YouTube channel going or whatever. So people are self-censoring. And it was done with the excuse of, you know, you can't, it's all health, you know, you're saying things about people's health, that's not allowed, but obviously they can have other reasons behind it. So we're now getting limited in what we can say. If you can't say things, people are scared to say, you stop thinking them. And we've got to reverse that.
I don't know how we so lately. I'm really, you know, quite disheartened by it. We are getting shut down, and I'm thankful to be speaking to you and for you inviting me on you know, on your show. And same as Guy, I'm thankful for Guy, you know, inviting me. We're going to do another one now later on this week, and I'm thankful for that because I feel like these days we just got to speak and do things like this because there's no other way around it. And the only way you're going to do it is if you do post things that don't really mean anything and do it in a way where there's not much passion, you know, like post Tatia buildings and that. But it is quite clever, you know. Don't speak about the sort of recess. Don't speak about the dates and that. I mean, you know, sort of put it out there like the World's Fairs. They just did get built for that, and put it out there like that. It is clever, but I'm too passionate for that, and I can't lie to myself. Right? I can't lie about that, and then it's the truth. You know what I mean? And I don't know, brother. I think we all got to come together like we're doing now. You know, we all got to come together. A few of us, even in the UK, I know, you know, America, I know, but you know, here, like what we're doing here, you know, and then they can like this, and let's find our, you know, our little army, you know, our little spiritual army that's never been done before, you know, and there's not going to be many that are really like that. I mean, a lot, but not many. You know what I mean? A few hundred, maybe, not even that. I mean, maybe 100. And we all meet, and we all speak, and we all plan some certain things what we can do, because that's the only way, I think. If we all come together and we all, you know, we show people who we are and what we believe in and what we care about, you know, because it has to be done. It does. We haven't got that long left either to do it. You know, in the next 10, 20 years, I'd say, before the fire comes. You know, it's just the next thing for us. I mean, it's fire and it's happening everywhere. And cities will get burnt and people will get burnt. And to say that it didn't happen before, I would be lying. You know, and that's not me speaking like that. That's coming from you know, from the frequencies. It's obvious to me that that's going to happen.
Well, during the protests, I was speaking in Glasgow one time, and I basically said, you know, let them keep their society, and everyone here, all the truthers should move to the Isle of Mull. I've been to the Isle of Mull. It's had a very special energy, I thought. And I just thought, you know, we got one island and they protect it, and kind of, you know, we can live our lifestyle there. It seemed like I was saying it in jest, but there was a hint of truth behind that, you know. And that's kind of what, again, that ZZ calls himself now, Martin Kenny with the Pineal Foundation. He's went and found his own nation and almost set an example of what you can do. Yeah, so basically there's another guy who I'm listening to recently. He was on the Archaic show, and his name's Chief Ironbush, and he's like a guy. He's quite interesting, the things he talks about. So he talks about the move from the white sun to the red sun and back to the white sun, and when it gets to one end of it, it's like a flood, and then it goes to the other end, and then it's like fire. So just when you said fire there, and a lot of your TikTok videos, I've got the giants, the petrified giants, or I've been to Cappadocia last year, where, you know, there's like melted shit going on there, you know. So again, that's part of the resets or something. Yeah,
it's everywhere, isn't it? It's everywhere. And what you said about, I can't remember his name, what you just said then, but they're all coming out now, isn't they? They're all showing themselves, you know. Like, people are coming out now, you know, for centuries that they've been keeping in or whatever, you know, waiting for the time. They're all coming out now. These you know, these amazing souls, you know, that are, you know, human, you know, they are coming out now, and they're speaking and they're saying it, and it's now or never, you know. I mean, it's now or never. And yeah, like the petrified giants and stuff, you know, again, that's only come out the past few years. No one ever knew that, again, because it's allowed now. It's allowed. You know, but yeah, they are. If you look at them, you know what I mean. They are faces, they are bodies, they are petrified, you know, giants, creatures, you know, petrified buildings everywhere. But the problem is with this is that with the timeline, it's quite hard to distinguish what resets and how things happen. That's the problem. You know, same with Tartaria stuff. Tartaria hasn't got anything to do with them petrified giants. You know, when everybody gets so mistaken, they don't. That was pre-flood. The petrified giants are pre-flood. You know. You know, when I say that, I say, you know, take things out of the Bible, take things out of the Torah, whatever. that means something like Genesis and certain things, because there is good scriptures in there that haven't been changed. What I'm saying is, it was true. There was a flood, and there was prophets that as well things. But before that, that's what happened. And what happened was they I don't know. I don't think it was a flood of water. I think it was a flood of petrified things. But it didn't take that long. It was boom, and they all knew it was coming because they was doing bad things. They were mingling with the children of Adam. They were mingling with the entities they shouldn't have been. They were creating children they shouldn't have. They were having too much fun. The fallen ones were having way too much fun, and the Most High banished them out, petrified them. I mean, that's it, and everybody got petrified that time, and then we all come back, I guess, and that's when the Egyptians came after the flood. That's when that happened, and it's quite crazy, the timelines. I don't really believe in time like everybody else does. I believe in things that I've learned and things that I've known through a scale of time. I don't. If I can help it, I don't never look at time unless it's to get like my kids or I have to be somewhere. Whatever. Apart from that, I don't look at time because it kills us. Time, it kills us, and our birthdays kill us too. We should never look at our time. When you know what I mean. That's why you got a man up in Jamaica mountains. Living until 350 years of age because they never look at their age, and they are that age. They are because they don't care. You know what I mean?
I seen an interesting thing recently about almost a birthday being a satanic thing because the cake represents the placenta and the candles are the years of your life, but it's got the light and you blow out the light, and various other things just to do. It made you think, there's a hidden almost meaning or message behind a lot of things we don't question, And
I think I feel like right now, we're doing this because we don't know what else to do. Our souls are speaking to our vessels that we live in, and they're like, come on. And only a few people have that. A few entities have that. Not many on this realm. A few thousand, maybe 100,000, but that's nothing compared. And the ones that actually do comes very low after that. Anyway, the time's up, and it's fast tracking now. They're trying to do something because it's we're living in a place where it's disgusting anyway, and like even to go onto the internet and you can just watch porn. And I'm using that as an example because is that what we are? Is that what we are? And that's what I'm saying. That's what we're bringing our kids up into. And no wonder why we got so many men out here angry and doing certain things to women in Instagram, because you're putting it in the face of them anyway. You're making our men angry. Do you know what I mean? You're making them not be nice to women. Do you know what I mean? That's what you've done. All of them have done that. Do you know what I mean? The entities, do you know what I mean? The demonic, do you know what I mean? The Draconians, that's it. Do you know what I mean? They done that. Do you know what I mean? Because they want it. They don't care. They wanted us to have emotional trauma, so we're not happy. And we worry about our cars and clothes and all this 9-to-5 job, go home around. Do you know what I mean? It's so obvious now that like people need to believe it now. Come on. Come on. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's it, brother. And I thank you, Billy, so much for giving me the opportunity to come on here and speak, because all I want to do now is speak and show people my passion and my heart, because I'm not a stupid man. I'm not a crazy man. I'm a real man with kids who've got a normal life, but I have this thing in me that I always have, that is being a part of something that no one knows, and I have to speak about it now. I have to tell them more because I'm worried about people that don't understand it, and I'm sick of it, to be honest. I'm sick of them not understanding what I don't understand, because I feel like I'm the only one sometimes, in that sense, and we're all coming together now,
Yeah, again, people are caught in the rat race and just, doing what they have to do to survive these days, and the fuel bills are going up, and the tax is going up here, and the food prices are going up, and the council tax is going up, and the wages are going down, and it's just a constant battle just to get through your day almost. And the people that haven't got money that they maybe had before to go on holiday and go for a treat, take your children to the cinema, or all these kind of things. So we're just living, barely getting by, surviving, and it's killing the joy. And we need joy. Like, I started doing stand-up comedy to try and wake people up because I was watching too much Bill Hicks. So all the time I've been doing comedy, I was like trying to inspire people to think or whatever, but I've been shut down.
Balance, though, brother. That's a good balance,
Yeah, that's what I thought, because I didn't think I was a big, huge researcher and intellectual. So I thought you could have a laugh and try and give people ideas, but again, the people in that system, it became cliquey and it becomes a hierarchy, and you've got to play that game. And because I didn't play the game, then I get totally ostracized. And you know, it could go lots of stories about that. But I've got to the point where I've got something I want to say, but that door's literally closed if I want to go. And again, these people are wanting to have a career in comedy and see a future in that, whereas I see, no, I'm in this to wake people up because Endgame's on, you know what I mean? So it's a different approach. So I wasn't really bothered about trying to be a career comedian or whatever, you know.
Like what you're saying, like every like sort of business or every sort of, you know, like job you want to say or whatever, they have infiltrators, and like comedy's been infiltrated already. Like you said then, like they're not even funny. They're not like the ones that do it. You know, they're scripted and then they're not naturally funny. I know a naturally funny person, you know, and they don't want to be a comedian anyway in that sense. So I can understand why you didn't really connect into that really, because you know you do it for different reasons and they do, and I know already from just seeing you. I mean, you see straight through things like that, and you know, and you don't like it, and they won't like you in the sense of it because they will feel you too. They will feel your energy. You know, like I'm a likable person, you know what I mean, but I'm very powerful too. But also I've had people not like me from the get-go when they met me, and many people not for no reason. Right, and I don't know why that is. I mean, because their soul's connecting to my soul, seeing my power, and their vessel don't understand why that is, because they want to learn something, but they don't know how to ask me, and that's what I'm saying. But you know, like these robots out there, they will let us know that, you know, what we are when we're doing it, you know, and but it's quite a struggle being that deep in this life, you know. It's hard, like, it's so hard, and sometimes I'm just like I love to go back in time and just, you know, not be it, but it's my duty, it's my path, you know, it is. But I won't lie, like I don't really know anybody, you know, let alone in where I live in Wales and I mean that is like me, that does what I do at all. Of course, there's loads of them. I mean, and blessings, guys. I mean, my brother. You know, of course there is. But I found guys, I mean, and that sparked my soul up in ways that, you know, I can never thank him. I mean, to understand. But it's only come now. You know what I mean? And it's beautiful. But this is for something. Surely we got to make movies. You know, we got to create something, and we got to do it. And you know what? I'll die trying through it, and I'm not scared of them. You know, I mean, I'm not scared of them. I never have been, and they're scared of us. They are. Do you know what I mean? Because we are the ones, and they are the ones who will do a runner if we show them that we know. And there's a few of us. They will do a runner, and they will all retreat and grow.
This is what I get frustrated at, the potential that we've got if we just stop. Like, everyone stop going to work today. Let's have a town meeting. Let's, you know, talk sense about the parasites and the shit that's going on, because everyone's blaming the council for this and, you know, blah blah blah. But what the council actually doing for us? Well, we're paying for our own slavery, and you know, we've got the potential, but the actual reality to try and make that happen just seems like a massive chasm. Like, you just can't be bridged because people are, I don't know, they're still deep in the matrix. They're still buying newspapers. They're still watching EastEnders, and it's like, is there any hope? People would call them NPCs or whatever like that. Are they just playing a role here? Is there any potential for these people to wake up? And the ones that are awake, I found when I was doing my show, it's almost like there's one person in every town would tune in, you know, but they're all spread few and far between in the physical place. So it's hard for us to drop everything when you've got to pay bills or whatever. You think you have to pay bills, you know. But reality is, get a bit of land somewhere, try and grow our own food and set up some shelter. But again, it does seem like a waiting game till something big's happening. I get that impression these days.
Yeah, like something is coming. You can all feel it. Like, I mean, it's already happened in the past anyway. Things, you know, big things that happen. You know, like I feel like we're doing this because we really feel it and we really want to speak about it because it's a part of our soul. I feel like, you know, you can balance life out. You can do things and come back to this whatever. Very hard, very hard. This has took over my entire life, you know. But I'm not afraid of that. It's okay. It's something that I want to do, and I believe in it to the point where I don't care about anything else apart from my kids and certain thing, you know. And either join me or don't, and that's what it's got to in that sense. But you said, man, you know, is there any hope for them in that sense? You know what I mean, like, I guess if they were meant to be, they would be, and if we can wake up 1, 2, or 3 of them, You know, not even like wake them up to the point where they're like this. Wake them up to the point where they look and they go, okay, all right then. Like, I feel like, and then they walk away, and then in their head they're thinking, you know what, like that's what we need to do. We need to make them understand that, so they're on our side. Because right now we're dealing with millions of, you know, billions of robotic NPCs that haven't got a jar of glue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's like Newcastle yesterday or a couple of days ago won this cup, and they've been waiting for it for 70 years, and now these people's lives have, oh, the heavens, you know, it's just like so great. We've won our trophy, and they're all crying, these grown men in the street. It's like, it's not even Newcastle players locally, you know what I mean? It's just like a group of foreigners, foreign strangers, whatever you want to call them. They have nothing to do with these people in reality. Because they're wearing this black and white shirt, it's the greatest day ever. It's like, no, it's no, mate. You're getting played.
People like to be a part of something, you know. But they're like, people like, and that's what humans are, you know. Everybody likes to be a part of something. That's why the church or a football team, whatever, people like to feel like they're worthy, or, you know, they've got a purpose and certain things. So they join things, become a part of a club or part of the thing. So, you know, so they get that feeling in them, and that's what humans are. Humans are built up on emotional trauma, emotional, you know, connection. You know, that's what kills us off. You know, our emotions. You know, I love my kids with all my heart. You know, but I'm teaching them how to survive in this life as true beings, as free vessels. You know, and always be there for them, but also understand that this life is what it is, and my kids do. You know, and that's because, you know, I haven't got no right to do, you know, to do anything with them. I mean, it's not about that, and that's the problem. You know, like, love and emotion is beautiful, it is, but if we get too deep on it, you know, we forget what our purpose is, and that's what's happened. You know, we all love each other. We want these houses, these cars, all this. You know what I mean? When we literally, and then it goes to Africa. You know what I mean? Africa is the most heartbreakingest thing ever. If they knew who they were, you know what I mean? If the nine-ethers, you know, if the atoms, you know what I mean? If the pure dark souls knew who they were, you know what I mean? From the Moors and stuff, you know what I'm saying? It would be totally different. It would be, and that's why they don't want it. So they suppress them over there. They suppress them.
I've been to Kenya, and oh my God, the corruption from the own government against their own people was off the scale. And, you know, I felt really quite sorry for them. They gave one guy a ghetto blaster, and he was like, "Oh, you've got to write a letter to say that you give it to me, otherwise the police will just say that I can't afford that and will steal it off me." And it's just like,
they found, didn't they? Was it 2 months ago? I think it was the biggest one they ever found in I think it was in Nairobi. Biggest one, and, you know, from a normal African man, whatever, you know, and I think
was it behind?
I think he got killed. I mean, something happened in that way, and, like, you know, it's a totally different ball game over there, isn't it? But we're just here in our lives in Britain, but then half of Africa is owned by Britain and France anyway, and that's why we get it, to get Cobalt to use these phones that we're on now, you know, and that's what's from, but they've done so well to do what they've done, you know, to colonize all these places that no one cares anymore. No one cares, and, you know, and even, you know, even the, you know, the people with different skin colors, brown, black, whatever, even they're so conformed into it that they don't even know their own culture, their own history, and their own purpose of life. And it's crazy. Me being mixed, I had a duty or a virtue to sort of learn things deeper. You know, you know, my grand's a musician. I mean, so what am I? And I really went into certain things, and I really, you know, and I've studied and taught, you know, many cultures on different levels of rural, you know what I mean, in that sense. So I had a chance to stand back, but you know, it is a big game through all these races, and they've made us all kill each other. They made us all kill each other, and they made us all hate each other. And in America, they've made all of our brothers, our black brothers, they made them all kill each other. That's what they've done, you know what I mean? They made them all shoot each other. So I mean, yeah, Afghans, they do that. They've done that. You know what I mean? You know, they've done that, and it's crazy. And like, I wish that all them brothers, you know, in America, you know, all understood this and understood thing. Make your own, you know, make your spiritual gang, make your own things. Go against them. Don't go against each other. Do you know what I mean? If they all did that, right, there'd be thousands of them, right? Imagine that.
Yeah,
that could change the world, Billy.
Well, again, they kind of think they're oppressed with the white man, but, you know, people say slavery. Well, you know, they talk about African Americans, but there's a lot of native black people in America, and they're saying that they were brought in these boats, and it's just like not feasible how many supposedly came across. And apparently the Ku Klux Klan was kind of set up because there was lots of successful black businessmen, and it was like a threat to them, so they wanted to bring them down.
Just like this Django, the Django. If you're on it, if you're a part of it, you're okay. You know what I mean? And when I say them, I mean like the controllers of all of it. It's different white races as well, Aryan or through the Palladian, the blue eyes, or Irish race, the things. It's different white races anyway. And Hitler, which he wanted real anyway. I mean, that was a total pawn in the game. That whole facade there made everybody hate things in that. I mean, it did. It made everyone hate.
Say Hitler was against the Jews, but the state of Israel got set up in the back of it. It's like,
yeah, that's it. It made everybody hate the Aryan race on this, when obviously not. Like, it's not like that, and that's why they did it. I mean, that's why they did it. There's different entities, different forms of every culture, and I think these days most people are mixed. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's divide and conquer, and we have to stop fighting each other and realize who the one that's stirring the bowl, basically. And
I don't know if we will though, Billy. I don't know. I would love to. I would love. If we're going to do it, we're going to have to create a team of a few of us in the UK and everyone else. And why not? I guess why not? Let's do it. I mean, it's now or never. We all believe in this thing that we need to do, and I think we got a chance to create something. The last time it was done was it's like Bob Marley or Michael Jackson and things. They created the revolution through the music, if you want to say. That's how it was done. It's never been really done on a big scale. People run around and do riots and create all this stuff. You're not going to work like that. You really need to create a stamp and create a sort of, a frequency army, a thing where we're there and we all know our stuff. We're on it. Like, when we're looking and we're thinking, no, and everybody looks at us and thinks, who are they? And then they believe in us and they join us. That's what we got to do.
It sounds like a good plan. Just before you go, I normally just do about the hour, but there's a couple of things I'd like you to answer.
Yeah.
First of all, you said about your name. You wanted to find out who your name was. Leviticus. That is your real name.
So my name is Levi.
Right.
Leviticus in that sense. So my name is Levi, but over the years I've transformed into Leviticus, and I took on, I grew within my entity and my soul, and I feel more of Leviticus than Levi. And Leviticus is the 10 laws of the land in the Bible, which was what we should always go by. Not hurting kids, not stealing from one another, things like that. And that's what the name comes into, or the tribe of Levi I am. Yeah, I built into Leviticus. My name's Levi though.
Right, I thought you said it was your real name, but obviously use that, so that's answered that one. And
John,
you've got...
yeah. Yeah.
Sorry?
It's like John and then Jonathan. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's yeah.
Right. And you're wearing the ankh there.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
That's the womb, man. It's the womb of life. This is the this is the frequency of life. This is everything I ever need in my life. This is a protector. This is something that connects to my soul. This is the protector of the women. This is the protector of where we are. This is one of the first symbols that ever got created. And if this is on top of like a staff, you could cross the seas and you could spread the seas. That's what they did. This is something that the cross, the Christian got took and then like that. This is the one that people need to look at, and this is the one of the truest symbols of life that you could ever understand. And this is the powerfulest thing you could ever know. It's volumes, it's mathematics, it's frequencies, and the most I knows, and that's what it is. This is it's not a religion, but if you want to say it, this is my religion, this is my culture, and this is what I believe in. I believe in a higher form. I believe in a light, and it took me a long time to understand what that is, and I found it, and I'm grateful for that.
Cool. So where can people find you? Obviously, it's just Modern Day Prophet. And,
Modern Day Prophet on all platforms. On Facebook as well, I'm Modern Day Prophet, and also Leviticus Mdp. Lately, I'm getting shut down and restricted a lot, but I'm going to bounce back. I'm going to keep doing things, and also in the next few weeks, I'm going to start doing my own things on YouTube and and talks and certain things as well. So you can find me Modern Day Prophet, guys.
Cool. It's been a pleasure talking to you. If you hang on there, I'll say goodbye off air, and we'll just play a little outro here. But in the meantime, thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. And it wasn't live on my website because I had some technical issues, but I will put it up there just shortly. So thanks again.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
No worries. It's been a pleasure. Catch you later, guys. Cheers and out.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you, man.